How do you extract a high-value target when the entire world is watching? You orchestrate a masterclass in military deception. The CIA positioned a single facility as bait and deployed 150 aircraft to generate a deafening sonic barrier, masking the helicopters, dropping Delta Force operators. AC-130s illuminated the perimeter, transforming night into blinding daylight. By the time the chaos subsided, the helicopters had already landed and Maduro was extracted. We'll examine how the US deployed F-35 jets and naval assets to execute a large-scale precision strike. All in the video ahead. In the dead of night, at 2 in the morning, the lights died across Caracas. By 5 a.m., the president of Venezuela had vanished. But how did the US execute this deception? While global attention fixated on the aircraft carriers positioned in the Caribbean, a shadow operation unfolded on Venezuelan soil. This wasn't an invasion. This was a surgical extraction. We now have the declassified timeline revealing how US forces penetrated the heart of Caracas and removed Nicolas Maduro. The setup. This operation didn't materialize overnight. For months, the US had been tightening a naval blockade around Venezuela. The USS Ford Carrier Strike Group and the USS Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group held positions off the coast. The justification was transparent. The US designated the Venezuelan government a narco-terrorist state, specifically targeting drug trafficking networks. But while the Navy maintained pressure on the coastline, intelligence operatives were tracking one individual. They waited for a precise window, a moment when Maduro would be stationary and exposed. The strike. The operation commenced at exactly 2 a.m. Venezuelan Standard Time. High above, several F-35 stealth fighters penetrated enemy airspace, neutralizing their anti-aircraft defenses. Russian S-300 missile systems positioned across strategic high-value locations were disabled. With the skies secured, the corridor opened for Delta Force helicopters to advance directly toward the objective. Here's where the deception intensified. As the helicopters moved in, the jets launched additional strikes, hitting Fort Tiuna, the primary military headquarters and command center, and La Carlota Air Base, crippling Venezuelan air support. Reports from ground sources described widespread detonations and an immediate communications blackout. The chaos wasn't the objective. It was the shield. The breach. Under the cover of darkness and pandemonium, the Tier 1 operators executed their mission. But which exact unit received this assignment? Delta Force, one of the most elite and classified special operations units in the US military. Witnesses in Caracas reported low-flying aircraft skimming rooftops, flying well beneath radar detection. The team breached a fortified compound believed to be a secure location within the massive Fort Tiuna complex. Resistance from the Venezuelan Presidential Guard materialized quickly, but proved ineffective as the helicopters provided suppressing fire. The operators moved with surgical precision, landing at multiple insertion points. The capture. Specialized helicopters hovered above the target to deploy the assault team. While dozens of attack helicopters delivered suppression fire, the Delta operators descended and began the search for the high-value target. How did they locate him? Simple intelligence work. The CIA had embedded an operative inside Nicolas Maduro's inner circle. Back in the United States, Delta Force constructed an exact replica of his safe house, rehearsing the raid repeatedly until they could execute it blindfolded. The operators breached the structure so rapidly, his security personnel couldn't respond. The sound of flash grenades disoriented the guards. Using blowtorches, they cut through reinforced barriers before he could secure all entry points. Maduro's shock froze him as Delta Force stormed the compound. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were physically detained. This wasn't a negotiation. They were secured and immediately transported to the extraction point. These aircraft are engineered for urban extractions from buildings and mid-air refueling capabilities. Within minutes, they were airborne, departing Venezuelan airspace and heading toward a secure floating staging base in the Caribbean. This operation, codenamed Southern Spear, altered the geopolitical map of South America overnight. Why F-35s instead of F-16s? But wait, after the extraction, reports confirmed F-35 jets led the assault. Why did the United States deploy F-35 jets instead of F-16s for operations in Venezuela? Because this is a well-organized and militarized nation. Venezuela has positioned advanced Russian S-300 missile systems, Chinese radar networks, integrated Russian air defenses, and Shahed drones along its borders. This creates a highly lethal environment that older F-16s would struggle to survive. As stated, approximately 150 aircraft and a massive 8 U.S. destroyers were stationed in the region. 3 amphibious assault carriers and surveillance aircraft transformed the force into a command and control powerhouse capable of overwhelming a modern military's air defenses. This signals a readiness to counter Venezuela's entire air defense network if necessary. Venezuela's Air Force. Why it failed. Why did Venezuela's Air Force fail to intercept? As of 2025, Venezuela's fighter jet fleet consists primarily of approximately 21 Sukhoi Su-30 multi-role fighters, delivered by Russia between 2006 and 2008, which now form the backbone of their combat air power. They maintain about 5 operational F-16 Fighting Falcons from an older procurement, including 3 single-seat F-16As and 2 two-seat F-16Bs. These F-16s are aging and suffer from limited maintenance and parts availability due to U.S. sanctions, although they received Israeli upgrades. Venezuela acquired its F-16 jets from the United States through a foreign military sales agreement called Peace Delta in May 1982, during a period of positive diplomatic relations. They were the first Latin American nation to receive the F-16, with deliveries occurring between 1983 and 1985. The reason the U.S. avoids using F-16s in current operations is simple. These jets lack the stealth capabilities necessary to evade the S-300 and other integrated defenses. The advanced S-300V, or anti-2500 systems, supported by dense Chinese and Russian radar, can easily detect and target older aircraft at extended ranges. Deploying F-16 into such an environment would result in high attrition risks, as they remain vulnerable to radar detection and missile engagement. Don't forget the Russian Buk air defense system that can eliminate an F-16 with ease. These cost-effective SA-15 or SA-24 Buk systems are already operational and mobile across the country. F-16s are also less effective in contested airspace saturated with drones, especially the Iranian Shahed drones used by Venezuela for reconnaissance and kamikaze strikes. The F-35 advantage. The F-35, however, delivers decisive advantages. Its stealth design enables it to operate undetected or with significantly reduced risk, making it effective against advanced surface-to-air missiles and networked radar systems. Its sensor fusion, electronic warfare, and data link capabilities allow it to simultaneously suppress and target mobile and fixed air defense positions, adapting rapidly to counter Russian and Chinese radar configurations. While the aircraft eliminated the anti-air defenses of the Venezuelan military as a whole, this allowed the CIA and special forces to advance toward the target. The overwhelming presence of advanced Russian, Chinese, Iranian, and indigenous air defense and drone systems on the Venezuelan border means that stealth fighter jets, as the first wave of attack, provide both the survivability and strike capability required for such operations. Mission range and logistics. But how do they maintain operational rotation? The distance from Puerto Rico to Venezuela is approximately 1,300 kilometers. This translates to roughly 810 miles, which equals around 1.5 hours of flight time for an F-35 flying at high subsonic speeds. These jets rotated in shifts, as the F-35's combat radius is approximately 770 miles, meaning it can reach most of Venezuela from Puerto Rico, with careful fuel management and limited loitering time. To extend mission duration and reach deeper inland targets, air-to-air refueling tankers deployed strategically in the Caribbean region support these operations. In situations demanding strikes within minutes, U.S. amphibious assault ships equipped with F-35Bs can launch jets rapidly. From such vessels positioned in the Caribbean, F-35Bs can reach Venezuelan targets within roughly 10 to 15 minutes, depending on velocity and flight path. Targets include narco-trafficking networks, air defense installations, command centers, and drone facilities, enabling flexible sea-based strike options against both Venezuelan military and criminal infrastructure. The strategic picture. In essence, the F-35 deployment by the U.S. near Venezuela redefines military capabilities in the region. It combines stealth, advanced sensors, electronic warfare, and networked operations to overcome sophisticated air defenses and maintain persistent air superiority and rapid strike ability against a broad spectrum of targets in Venezuela. This reflects a strategy that transcends counter-narcotics to deter and, if necessary, decisively counter the Venezuelan military threat. The capture of Nicolas Maduro represents the culmination of months of intelligence gathering, military positioning, and surgical execution. The operation demonstrated that even a heavily fortified target surrounded by advanced Russian and Chinese military systems can be penetrated with proper planning, deception, and overwhelming technological superiority. The helicopters that inserted Delta Force were supported by a layered defense suppression campaign. The F-35s didn't just clear a path. They created a corridor of dominance through which special operations forces could operate with near impunity. The sonic barrier created by 150 aircraft masked the approach of extraction helicopters. The strikes on Fort Tiuna and La Carlota weren't random. They were precision hits designed to blind and deafen Venezuelan command and control at the exact moment Delta Force needed maximum operational freedom. The intelligence game. The CIA operative embedded within Maduro's circle provided real-time intelligence on his location, security posture, and movement patterns. This human intelligence proved decisive. Satellite imagery and signals intelligence can only reveal so much. Having eyes and ears inside the inner circle meant Delta Force knew exactly which room Maduro would be in, how many guards were present, and what their response protocols would be. The replica safehouse built in the United States allowed operators to rehearse every movement. They practiced breaching techniques, room-clearing procedures, and extraction protocols dozens of times. When they finally executed the real operation, muscle memory took over. There was no hesitation, no confusion, just smooth, violent execution. The aftermath. The geopolitical implications are massive. Venezuela's neighbors are recalibrating their relationships with both Caracas and Washington. The message is clear. Advanced air defenses and Russian backing provide no sanctuary from American special operations forces when the political will exists to act. The extraction of Maduro shifts the balance of power in South America. The vacuum created by his removal will be filled, but by whom remains uncertain. What is certain is that the United States demonstrated it possesses the intelligence capabilities, military assets, and operational skill to reach into a heavily defended capital city and remove a head of state. This operation will be studied in military academies for decades. The deception strategy, the coordination between air and ground forces, the intelligence preparation, and the surgical execution represent the pinnacle of modern special operations capability. Southern Spear proves that with proper planning and overwhelming technological advantage, no target is truly unreachable. The helicopters landed, the Delta operators moved, Maduro was secured, the aircraft departed, all in under 30 minutes from first breach to final extraction. That's the definition of surgical precision in modern warfare.